Top of the morning, back at it again with another one. And today, we're looking at the Forex Factory. I didn't upload a post the NFP release we saw. That was last week on Thursday. It's now Tuesday, the 25th of November. I tried to go long for NFP Thursday, didn't work out for me. We sold off like crazy. I'll show you just now. On Friday, though, I managed to catch a buy. I left it on overnight. It turned out quite nice. I ended up catching 800 points on that one. I closed it out on Monday, closed it out on Monday, and went short today on Tuesday. So we had no news on Monday. It was a clear Monday. The entry on Monday, or the idea for the Monday trade, was to use a macro. I'll probably split. I'll just do it all in one video. It's whatever. It's really just for me, regardless. So I'll go over Monday's idea or potential trade idea. I'll then break down today's one as well, and we'll take it from there. So as you can see, cool. Monday there was no news. Tuesday we had PPI numbers. Yeah, yeah. Decline in PPI. Honestly speaking, I really don't understand what these things mean. I really need to look into this. I just saw the news. I really just look at it based off of the times. So at that specific time, that's when I'll come onto the chart, look at what's going on, and then I'll do what I do from there. But that's the situation today. These are the fundamentals. I'm gonna start with today's trade because that was quite nice, to be honest. But I guess it kind of makes sense if I layer it up from what happened or transpired from last Friday. So last Friday, cool. I was somewhere here. I got the buy position around about in this consolidation area there. Let it sit. We came through this week and we opened up that new week opening gap. Price was somewhere in that region. Before that, actually, let's just go back here because, like, while we're here now, I just want to speak on it. So, cool. NFP Thursday. That's here now, right? At the time, we had this, and this was a higher time frame fair value gap. It was on the 4 hourly. Let me show you now. 4 hourly fair value gap, we had that there. This was for that NFP Thursday, right? Price came to hit it. I was going for the retest to the upside. This was last week's high, I believe. This was the nah, I think it was just above there, if I'm not mistaken. But as of last week, that was the high of the week. I was targeting going up in that direction. You can see that I had the draw there, but we never got that buy. It ended up tanking so hard. At the time, I was risking 95 points, 189. Standard 1 to 2 risk reward ratio. And yeah, man, it just tanked off. Friday, I came about. I actually got that inversion. This inversion over here. So cool. We got that inverted. Got the buy from there. Started writing it up. I'll post the link to the TikTok. That's why I put up the screenshots. But anyway, got the inversion, wrote it up, and yeah, my stop initially was at the bottom there, but I moved it to just before break even, and then I moved it to just under this. Not that one. This low. Sorry. So new week opening gap. It retested it and then shot up. Put my stop loss there. Price then shot up, shot up, shot up. Monday, I'll break down the potential entries for that macro idea, whatever. Today's entry actually, even if you look at the macros, it even makes it even much better. But yeah, Monday it pushed up quite considerably, I must say. Monday alone, we saw a movement of 641 points, right? So when it got up there and it started doing this instinctively, I took off a significant portion of the position, took my partial, done and dusted, sharp. Had a small bit left, and then I saw it was breaking lows, and then I closed it out, and then I was like, cool. kind of bullish since we took out that order block there that's changed its state of delivery. We then switched over. We got support there. Got support also from the new week opening gap and started to push up. So for me at the time, I was looking at it as a range. So my dealing range was that low. I mean that high to that low. That's what I was looking at. And initially, I was looking for buys there, but I didn't end up buying, which is, it is what it is. But as price was doing this, and when I got to my charts eventually, I saw a sell setup forming up, and I decided to write it down to that PD array. Very nice and cool trade to be in. It felt really good, just the fact that I saw it beforehand and I was able to control myself and my emotions. And yeah, man, I didn't end up closing it earlier than I was supposed to. It was super cool. Very, very, very solid experience. And yeah, man, yeah, um, let's go down. So, range I was looking at, I put my fib on it as well. Something I've been practicing a lot lately, like looking at it in the context of these ranges. Since the move was a short, we were obviously in a premium area. Exit point was in a discount that's 50% under or under the 50% mark of the range you're looking at, right? I'm going to a 15 minutes since that's actually where my entry was inspired. Here we are on the 15-minute, cool. I think I got to the charts just after the news dropped, so just before market open actually, 9:30. So we started dipping down quite nicely. So when I got to my charts, I think price was around about here, somewhere there, right? So I was like, relative equal highs got taken out. I was wary because I was like, this is yesterday's high, and looking at how price is moving, it looks like they're building up liquidity to get run back later on. Clearly, as we can see, that was the case, but at the time we were on about there. I noted that we inverted this fair value gap here. It was previously bullish. We closed through it, and I was like, yo, it's about to sell off. I believe actually my sell order was like somewhere there. It was just the market entry. I just market bought, sold this thing like as soon as I saw this inversion off instinct. And then price came back to retest that fair value gap or that 15-minute inversion fair value gap quite beautifully actually. And just take a note, it was from 850. So from 850 macros happened the last 10 minutes of a hourly candle to the next or the first 10 minutes of the next hourly candle. So basically if it's 7, it's 750 to 810, 850 to 910, 950 to 1010, 1050 to 1110, and so on and so on. So I was looking at the 851 just out of curiosity or just, keeping an eye out. And I noticed how we struck the liquidity, of course, broke the structure that low, came back. There's that fair value gap that exists there. Some may say it's a bit pedantic or whatever, but I know you see it. I know you see it. So that did its thing. I came to the chart. I sold somewhere around there. And then I had my stop just above there, and I was obviously targeting that fair value gap on the hourly, the one we're looking at. Came through quite nicely. Very beautiful trade. Very, very beautiful. I just didn't take the one I was initially looking out for, which is to buy that fair value gap on the hourly, then exit round about there, or even ride this up towards the previous weekly highs. But it is what it is, not a problem. It was just good to like note because I took this, right? And then I just didn't like put on any more positions on. I just specifically came down two lower time frames just to view how it's reacting and just breaking down that concept of looking at a dealing range. So a high, most recent swing high, most recent swing low, depending on what direction the higher time frame is moving in. Try to frame it in that direction. So if higher time frame wise we're bearish, look for the most recent swing high or swing low on whatever lower time frame you're looking at. If lower, if the higher time frame is bearish, then we look for sells. We wait for price to come to the premium area of the dealing range you're looking at. So that's above the 50% mark of that specific swing high and swing low. We then just look for PDRAs in the premium area. In this case, we had this SIBI, that's also in the golden zone as well. Price came up, hit that, and then proceeded to sell off, and it hit another PDRA in deep discount, so under the 50% mark. So good place to exit. Um, at times, it would be best to exit at a an external range pool of liquidity, but if there's a PDRA available, just capture that. Like low hanging fruit is the best way to go about this. And as you can see, it if initially we were like, okay, cool, um, fair value gap there, we wanted to take out that low, we wouldn't have gotten the fill. We hit that fair value gap there and then consolidated some more and then it started going back up. But dealing range, break it down, most recent swing high, swing low on whatever lower time frame you're looking at. Frame it to move in the same direction or order flow as the higher time frame one. If on the higher time frame we were bullish, for example, look at the most recent swing high, swing low, and then in the discount area, wait for price to come back into discount, and then look for any PDRAs. In this case, there was this one. Look for any bullish PDRAs in a discount, and it'll go back up. This goes back to what we mentioned earlier in a previous video, where you don't buy in premium, you don't sell in discount. So yeah, that was a cool one. And then of course just looking at just how it pushed up from that area we're looking at. That would have been an easy peasy 300 and some points. But like it's crazy, man. NQ's been moving quite wild because we're getting like moves or candles like this one 5 minute candle here, right? That's 122 points from one candle in 5 minutes. Crazy move, bro. So just cool to see. Very, very nice to see. And just make a note of it's currently trading up at 25042 now. Eventually it's gonna be at 30 or even 42,000, like what US 30 is at right now. So that's that's gonna be super cool to see. We've been watching it since it was at 14,000. Still watching it strong. But that was the situation today. The situation for Monday, while we are just on it now, remember those times to look at. It's the last 10 minutes of an hourly candle and the first 10 minutes of the next hourly candle. So if it's starting from 12, that's 1250 to 110, then 150 to 210, then 250 to 310, 350 to 410, etc., 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 especially on a lower time frame. Monday wise, we got that big expansion move to the upside, but I'm gonna start it off. I'm gonna put it on the 5 minute. Of course, you should have a draw, know where it's going, those types of things. But yeah, looking at yesterday the one we're looking at is 950 to 910. I'll just put it on a minute time frame just to make it like pop a bit more. Going to Monday, just give me a sec. Monday, here we are. We're looking at that macro. You saw in the 5 minute, obviously, what it was looking like, but you know what I'm saying? 950, we got the deep, deep, deep retracement. Obviously, that's our dealing range. Most recent swing low, swing high. Put the fib. Don't open Brave, man. Come on. Put that down on there, put that up there. And what you notice is price reacted from the golden zone, but also from a PDRA that is in discount, right? Don't buy in premium, don't sell in discount. Shot its way up and then started doing its thing. So for the 950 to 1010 macro, it did offer us something. I'm going back to the 5 minute now. So cool, you can see on a 5 minute, this is what it would look like. Swing low, swing high, retracement back into that 5 minute PDRA. You could have entered there, but relative to that high and that low, beneath in discount, that's where you'd want to enter, right? So that was that. And then if at the time or on the day, the playbook we were using would be the silver bullet. course, entries would then be after 10 p.m. Or 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Put that there, and you can see the first entry would have been at 10:10. Interesting, right? 10:15, 10:25, of course. Assuming you used that low as your reference point for your take, so for your stop loss rather. So entry would be there, stop loss would be below that. For example's sake, and you're looking for a 2R, that would it would have hit it, of course. Question now is just a thing of how long would it have taken. So, assuming you enter on about there, that would be, and it got to it here, 3 hours. Let's give it 3 hours. Not bad at all. Not bad at all. 3 hours, that would have been in the afternoon at 13 or 10 past 1 New York time. That's when it would have been filled out. So, two of the models played out. Obviously, the macro here, that's that 950 to the 1010 one, silver bullet as well, and that just gives you context as to the move on Monday, the one we were involved in from Friday, somewhere in that region. We took P profits there, got in trend with NQ as it moved down to the downside. You saw the expansion we were looking at. You saw the imbalance it left. You saw the logic we're using in the overall grand scheme of like what's going on for the week. And it paid out quite nicely. Looking at the calendar again, we've got unemployment claims tomorrow, and then we have a bank holiday on Thursday. So looking at the remainder of the week, it's really just tomorrow. If you're looking at USD pairs or indices, of course, Thursday is not really gonna be. It's gonna be a dead day. The next AM session, which is on Friday, it's gonna be pretty quiet or quite volatile. You don't know, but just be cautious. PM session is there, of course, but me personally, we had a good one yesterday. Had a good one today. Yeah, I'll look for something tomorrow, but we don't really need like Thursday or Friday. Winners know when to quit, or just hang 10. And then looking forth to the next week, this is what we've got. Uh, yeah, weird one. Weird one. Normally we should have had NFP on the 5th, but that's not the case. That's not the case. We will get the. Oh, doesn't look like that we have NFP. We're scheduled for any NFP though. That's weird. Hey man, we'll hear when we hear it. We'll hear when we hear it. But that's that for today. That's the situation so far. And yeah, man. Thank God for the skill. More updates to follow. And I'll put up that link for the other account in the bio or description or nah, I'll actually post it on the what's I don't know what that thing is called, like that tab where you put up posts. Um, but I'll put it there though. I'll start using that thing more actually. Um, yeah. But yeah, man, thank God for the skill, and we'll speak some more.